like the umpire should have been able to have the authority of just saying, yeah, let's get this guy out and forget about this rule. But I'm sure they knew that was in place. You had to get to that third batter. And just for a little, for like telling the story of what happened next. So you had two guys on after two pitches. Yeah. McCutcheon's up. He's a righty. The other two batters were lefties. So that I heard some chatter of like, that he'll at least put the ball over the plate, which he did, but not without throwing a couple of balls, like wild balls. One was low, one was high.
One was in the dirt. Yeah, one was high, and then he threw like two
right over the plate,
slower
pitches, and then it led to an RBI. And so just clearly, like the rule in that instance, that's when the rule was supposed to come into play and like create maybe a little more offense and help out, the pace of play. But it looked like such a train wreck for baseball and for the way no one seemed to know what to do in this moment.
Yeah.
Eric, do you think that this was a rule that baseball could have just overlooked this scenario? Like, this will never happen.
Yeah, of course they overlooked this scenario. This isn't one that maybe they talked about it. I think that's part of their job is to explore every possible situation. But in the end of the day, it probably wasn't something that factored into this decision because it's probably such a rare occurrence that this would be the case.
Right.
That's not to say they shouldn't make an amendment, knowing that this now happened and it not, again, lying with the managers, more lying with the umpire crew of a safety, situation to protect the players. That's part of their job is to protect the players.
Absolutely. And I have to wonder, going forward, if you were a pitcher and you hit someone in the face, in the head, like just a pitch that made you just cringe, like, I can't believe I let the ball get that out of control, do you then say to a trainer on the sideline or to your coach, like, I might be hurt, and just to get yourself out?
Yeah. You could. It's probably not in the mindset of a pro athlete, but some of them probably should have that mindset of like, dude, I
didn't
can't pitch. I can't pitch today. I'd love to try and push through this, but we need someone else out here that can do a better job today.
Yeah. Kind of scary stuff when you're talking about like you have to face these three batters. Yeah. Like on paper, it seems like this is a great rule. What's the level of confidence you think going forward? Like, is this going to stick around a long time?
I think it's going to stick around. They may make an amendment.
They're going to have to make some changes, I feel like,
I don't
to make
think they're
sure
getting rid of this rule.
Yeah.
They definitely don't want to go back to all these specialists coming out of the bullpen to have three different pitchers in an inning. They don't want that anymore.
Right.
Which I am all for.
Right.
So,
but it's kind of like the trust. There's like the honor system of, are you actually hurt? Because you could make claim to that. And I guess if you were injured in the three batters, I wonder if there's an amendment to the rule saying that you then have to go on a 3-day DL then. You're definitely not pitching then. If you're hurt today, kind of like, in football, if you're down, you got to sit out the next play.
Yeah, I don't know what the extent is if someone's injured or if it's, if it has to lead to a DL stint or what the case is. But that would certainly prevent
some of the
players from
the BS that could happen. Right,
they could potentially come.
Yeah.
So
maybe there's some articles that would be attached to this new rule, and unfortunately it just did not help baseball out. One thing that it's going a little off the playbook here, Eric, the bags seem to be working just fine. We have larger bags this season. We talked about that for the opening season. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of stolen bases are going on, but it doesn't seem to be really an issue, though, either.
No, it seems fine.
Yeah.
Haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, kind of part of the idea sometimes.
I think that was
a rule change. You do, and it's changing it for the better, but you don't really want to notice.
Yeah. Same series, watching the game last night, there was a double play that Gregorius stayed in the game, and he made this beautiful double play. Kept foot on the bag, but no collision was made. And I had to think, like, maybe that was because the bag's a little larger. You got a little more surface area. Those guys didn't have to, like, tumble over each other and potentially blow out a knee. So, anyway. So, not to say that, like, all rules or change is bad by any means. It's just that this one in particular with the 3 pitchers, an exposed vulnerability was definitely brought out in that game. Yeah. Well, you want to move on? You want to talk about the standings?
Yes.
You want to see what's going on in MLB? Because there's some balanced divisions, and then there are some definite winners going on right now, and a couple of surprises too, like in the NL West. So, Eric, what do you want to talk about, the NL or AL?
I'll go ahead and take the AL.
All right,
so,
you do that.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start in the East here. We'll start at the top. Got the Boston Red Sox 16-9, Tampa Bay Rays 13-12. Toronto is 11-12, 4 games back. Yankees are 11-13, 4.5 back, and the Orioles are 10-14, 5.5 back. They are better, I think, than most people projected.
That's not saying
10-14.
Not saying much.
Move to the Central. KC 15-8. They are leading that division, which I would certainly call a surprise. I think a lot of people picked Chicago to kind of lead that division with a lot of the changes that they made, or of course Minnesota. But we have Chicago 12-10, 2.5 back. Cleveland's 11-12, 4 back. Minnesota's 8-15, 7 back, and 7.5 back at 8-16 is Detroit. And in the West, we have the Oakland A's 15-10 leading that division. Game and a half back is the Astros 13-11, 2 back. Is going to be the Los Angeles Angels at 12-11. Also 2 back is going to be the Mariners 13-12. And then bringing up the rear there in the AL West is going to be Texas Rangers 10-15, 5 games back.
With the Detroit Tigers at the bottom of the AL Central, they have a negative 35 run differential. Not totally sure if that's just all on pitching or just poor run support. Either way, those guys are letting a lot of runs
That is
go
definitely
by.
the worst in the majors.
Oh, yeah. By quite a bit.
Yes.
Let's get into, though, the NL. Let's start with the East. This is the most competitive division right now, although when I talk about the West, there are a 3-team mix-up that is going to be worth watching for perhaps much of the year. But looking at Atlanta, leading it only at 500, actually tied with Philadelphia, the Phillies at 12-12. The Mets are 9-10, and 11-13 go to Miami and Washington. They are only 9-12, but that's good enough for a game and a half back in that division. Looking at the Central, Milwaukee has a 14-10 record with Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals behind them at 12-12, so that's good enough for 2 games back. Then you have 11-13 for the Cincinnati Reds, and at the bottom, a little bit of a surprise, but at the same time, I think we talked about this. I think it's more surprising that Pittsburgh is sitting at second with the Cubs, though, in last place at this time.
Cubs are definitely in a rebuild.
It's definitely a young season, but yes, Chicago, you would not pick them to win. They're at 10-14, 4 games back currently. In the West, talking about this one, now it's not a surprise that at the top you got the LA Dodgers, but they're tied right now for first with San Francisco Giants at 16-9. San Diego Padres, we knew they'd be good. Right now, though, just 2 games above 500 at 14-12 with a 12-12 record right behind them with Arizona, and Colorado Rockies are bringing up the rear at 9-15. That's only 6.5 games back in that division. There we go. That's a look at the MLB standings currently after about 1 month through. So that's... yeah, we'll see how much that changes over time. I think, again, a couple of surprises there. How about that Oakland team, though, coming out with, like, what they have? They had a 10-game or 11-game win streak.
Yeah, they certainly got off to a pretty hot start here in the early young season. So, off to a good start for Oakland.
What else to talk about is who you got?
I mean, who you got, man.
Okay.
So this is just more of an overarching. So it's definitely the best games to watch or best things to watch in sports. It's going to be the NFL draft. It's starting this evening as we record this, but going through the whole weekend. So based on that, just curious who you may have thought is going to have the best draft prediction. So, I mean, do you have a thought, like, off the top of your head?
Like, best team who will come out?
Yeah, who's going to end up with the best draft grade?
Oof. I mean, without really even spending time to look at this, I think who has the most to gain are, some of your losers. And we kind of talked about this, like the Jets not changing up their head coach. That, and just, I don't know if there's any other organizational changes as well, but I think the Jets in particular, and perhaps Cincinnati, because they were showing flashes of like how good they can be. They should have some good draft picks coming up.
Cincy, I think, is in a good spot in the draft
coming up
because they don't need one of the quarterbacks. They can trade down if they really want to, but I think they can grab the best offensive lineman. They have their first overall pick, also another first rounder from last year returning. That was an offensive lineman. That tore his ACL like early season. I think it was his ACL. But yeah, they are certainly sitting really pretty. I think the Jets are looking good. They have 3 picks in the top 35. So they have number 2, number 23, number 34. I think that's really important for them. They're obviously going to be drafting a quarterback at number 2. But then with that 23rd pick, I'm interested to see what they do, as well as that 34th pick. The 2 teams that I'm really eyeing to have a great draft is, of course, Jacksonville. They have the first overall pick.
I mean, it's their draft to lose, right?
But they also have the number 25, the number 33, and the number 45 pick. They have 4 impact players that can start day 1 that they can put out on that field. And then they have a really solid 3rd round pick at number 65. Then we jump into some of the later round stuff, and those are just more crapshoots. But then I also look at Miami. Miami has 4 picks in the top 50, number 6, number 18, number 36, number 50. And this is a team that is primed to come out of this draft as the best, because this team is already good. This is a great defensive team. They need a running back very bad. I was actually thinking that they may get Aaron Jones in free agency away from Green Bay, but they didn't. So I think that they are going to be a team that really looks to draft a running back first round, not with number 6. That'd be crazy. But that number 18 spot, I think they could grab someone, or they may be looking at a day 2 running back, but they are definitely going to fill out that team there in Miami. And this could be a team that really comes out of the draft looking super good. So, I say Miami or Jacksonville.
All right. Well, is there anything else really to watch right now, Eric?
It's the NFL draft, but I do have 2 games that I pulled out. So
okay.
I pulled out the Nuggets and the Jazz, 2 of the best teams in the NBA. They're going to be playing on May 7th. And then I also picked out 2 of the best teams in the NHL, the Lightning and the upstart Florida Panthers, with Joey Q behind the bench still. Going to be playing on the 10th of May.
Okay. And again, just only 6 to 8 games, maybe 10, depending on what team you are in the NHL. So yeah, definitely lots of playoff spots to be had, and the seeding to go on. So should be a lot of exciting times in the next 2 weeks then.
It's coming down to the end here.
Absolutely. All right. Well, when we get back to our next episode, we'll talk about what's happening in NHL playoffs, the NBA, seeing what's going on, and of course the reactions from the NFL draft. So catch us out, or catch up with us, sure, in another couple weeks. That's it for this edition of Average Sports with your average guys.
See you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Average Sports with Average Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and we'll see y'all next time.